I've got to do John 5, but before that, we got to go talk about Corinth. I think Corinth is at Patras, which is kind of crazy because that's kind of Peter. Yeah, it looks like Corinth right there at the top by Athens is the spot. So here the commentator says Paul's comments in 1 Corinthians in regard to the covering of women's heads were in reaction to the existence of 1,000 priestesses at the temple of Aphrodite on Acrocorinth. He basically goes on to say they were whores, and like he was against whores, but really like they were against Meg Myers. I think that the Greeks know Apollos, and I don't know Apollos, which, by the way, they would still be calling him Zeus. The Romans would be calling Zeus Jupiter. And clearly, like it seems like the Greeks are creating the Roman religion. So I don't know what they know about Apollos, but I know that Apollos was not the same as Zeus, clearly. And so they would know not to trust him, stick with the bald-headed chicks. So Paul is sent to Corinth to fail. And who is sent to Asia? Well, that's Peter, and John is sent to Asia, right? How do you know that? The revelation of John, which he's a slave also, and he has to tell them what he's seen from Jesus Christ. From there, he goes to the churches in Ephesus, and he says, like, you're neither hot nor cold, like, so I'll spit you out of my mouth. He goes to Thyatira. I don't know what he says. He always, like, gives them, like, a little speech, but he doesn't, like, tell them a ton of stuff. So the churches that Paul went to were all in the Izmir area, which would be Turkey. Or did I say John? John goes to Turkey, Paul goes to Greece and fails because Zeus is actually there, and they're all saying, like, you're not a real prophet to Paul. Or they're saying to Paul, like, you don't speak for Zeus, you didn't even know him. We actually know him probably. That's like where he was. That's where he got sent to die, like, with your people, Paul. Like, you didn't know that, but you're Apollo still. And that's why you're talking about gay stuff. All right, let's read through John 5 real quick. Okay, actually, I can't do it real quick. I have to talk about what like has led up to the John 5. So, Jesus has been hanging out with the Samaritans. He actually was hanging out with people from Galilee that were in Jerusalem. He wasn't hanging out with Samaritans that were in Jerusalem. But the Samaritan is complaining about how like they don't count us as Jews, and like our father's Jacob and stuff, and Isus was a Jew. And then Isus has gone and like healed this nobleman's son, and the Pharisees are like after Isus because Isus overthrew the tables in the temple. All right, so we're at the healing of Bethesda. After these things, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there's in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called the Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porticos. In these lay a multitude of those who were sick, blind, lame, and withered, waiting for the moving of the waters. For an angel of the Lord went down at certain seasons into the pool and stirred up the water. Whoever then first, after the stirring up of the water, stepped up and was made well from whatever disease with which he was afflicted. And a certain man was there who had been 38 years in his sickness. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been a long time in that condition, he said to him, "Do you wish to get well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, but while I am coming, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Arise, take up your pallet and walk." And immediately the man became well and took up his pallet and began to walk. Now it was the Sabbath on that day. Therefore the Jews were saying to him who was cured, "It is the Sabbath, and it is not permissible for you to carry your pallet." But he answered them, "He who made me well was the one who said to me, 'Take up your pallet and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your pallet and walk'?" But he who was healed did not know who it was, for Zeus had slipped away while there was a crowd in that place. Afterward, Zeus found him in the temple and said to him, "Behold, you have to become well. Do not sin anymore, so that nothing worse may befall you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. And for this reason, the Jews were persecuting Jesus, because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. But he answered them, "My Father is working until now, and I myself am working." For the cause of therefore, okay, so we're Jesus' equality of God. For this cause, which there wouldn't be a space here. Sorry if you couldn't read that. I should have been showing you the Baths of Bethesda, but there wouldn't be like a section here. Like this would be like all continued, and it'd be meant to be read out loud. And that's why it's important that you're like hearing this out loud in the New American Standard. So for this cause, therefore, the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, because he not only was breaking the Sabbath, but also was calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. Jesus therefore answered and was saying to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself unless it is something he sees the Father doing. For whatever the Father does, these things the Son also does in like manner. So, by the way, if he's calling God the Father, what is that? Who is he talking about? Probably Jupiter. If he's in the Rome area, which he wasn't. I don't know what they were speaking there. Clearly, I think he was speaking Greek. So, for the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that he himself is doing, in greater works than these will he show him, that you may marvel. For just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son also gives life to whom he wishes. So this is referring to cloning. For not even the Father judges anyone, but he has given all judgment to the Son, in order that all may honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who hears my words and believes him who sent me has eternal life, and does not come into judgment, but has passed out of death into life. Truly, truly, I say to you, an hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear shall live. For just as the Father has life in himself, even so he gave to the Son also to have life in himself, and he gave him authority to execute judgment, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming in which all who are in the tomb shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, those who did the good deeds to a resurrection of life, those who committed the evil deeds to a resurrection of judgment. I can do nothing on my own initiative. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I do not seek my own will, but the will of him who sent me. If I alone bear witness of myself, my testimony is not true. There is another who bears witness of me, and I know that the testimony which he bears of me is true. You have sent to John, and he has borne witness to the truth. So that's John the Baptist. All right. But the witness which I receive is not from man, but I say these things that you may be saved. But was the lamp that was burning and was shining, and you were willing to rejoice for a while in his light? But the witness which I have greater than that of John, for the works which the Father was given me to accomplish, the very work that I do, bear witness of me that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me, he has borne witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his form, and you do not have his word abiding in you, for you do not believe in him who he sent. Once again, that's the Logos. So you search the scriptures because you think that in them you have eternal life, and it is these that bear witness of me, and you are unwilling to come to me that you may have life. I do not receive glory from men, but I know you, that you do not have the love of God in yourselves. I have come in my Father's name, which would be Isus, which Greek people know. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another shall come in his own name, you will receive him. How can you believe me when you receive glory from one another, and you do not seek the glory that is from the one and only God? Do not think that I will accuse you before the Father. The one who accuses you is Moses, in whom you have set your hope. For if you believe Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote of me. But if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my... I had no idea Isus was Moses. Oh, that's crazy. Cool.